What are any of us capable of? This is an important question, and I want to tell you about a couple psychology studies today that I think really blow open the possibilities for each of us. The first is about perfect pitch. Perfect pitch is a rare ability. About 1 in 10,000 people have it. And it's that ability to hear a note and know what it is. Just to hear a note randomly and go, that's a C note. And if you've ever seen footage of people who have this ability, it's quite remarkable. They can hear a spoon hitting the side of a glass and they'll go, that's a D sharp. And this ability is rare. People like Mozart had it, Fred Astaire. And it was always considered to be innate, something you were born with. You had it or you didn't. And then in 2014, a Japanese psychologist trained 26 children, young children between the ages of 2 and 6, for 2 years, and they all developed perfect pitch. So all this to say that something that was considered an innate talent turned out to be something that's learned. And perfect pitch is something that you do seem to need to learn it when you're very young, but it's an example of how abilities are learned and not inherited. And this can get a little bit confusing because we are all initially sometimes better at some things than other people, or worse. And so there's that kid who throws a ball better than other kids right away, or the kid who picks up an instrument and hears the notes better than other kids right away. And this gives rise to the idea of talent. But there was an interesting study by John Sloboda that looked at this idea if those initial differences in aptitude really made a difference in the long run. And they did this with musicians, so kids who seemed to show an early aptitude for music, maybe a slightly better ear, maybe slightly better coordination with an instrument. And what they found is when they kind of tracked them for years, was that in the end, it made no difference. Once you got to a certain level of capability, say with piano, the only thing that made a difference was the amount of time practicing. One would think if there was kind of an innate talent, an innate ability to learn more easily, that it would continue to go over time, but this turned out not to be the case. Initially, some people have greater ability to learn something, but they hit a point where that doesn't matter. And people who've had to struggle to begin with, they catch up, and sometimes the learning that they've had to go through to overcome those early hurdles actually gives them more insight into what's involved. So these are the two ideas I want to study, that both things that we think are innate aren't actually innate, and that some of those initial differences that we notice don't really matter in the long run. What matters is continual practice over time. So I think there's a couple questions that arise out of this, because I've noticed that some people, that we have unhealthy ideas about talent. One is, some people like the idea of talent because it makes them feel special. And I don't think this is necessarily a healthy thing. I think we can have a sense of self-worth and self-value without feeling the need to be special. And I think on the other hand, this idea of talent gives people an excuse to not do things. But the more we've studied practice, and I'm going to put some links in the discussion below about some of the new studies on practice and on talent that I think are very important to look at, because what it looks like is that effort and passion and consistency over time is what makes for excellence in any field. That talent is overrated, and that's the name of one of the books that I'm going to put down below. And so just that idea, this idea that talent is not as important as effort, does that excite you? Or do you find you're resisting it? If there was the idea that you could actually become really good at something just by learning how to study and practice it in a good way, does that excite you? And if so, what would you like to learn?